Welcome to episode 1 of the Panjwai podcast. Panjwai is a district. Hey, that's
It's epic.
yeah, it's definitely got some build to it. Music courtesy of some random online royalty-free music page. Thank you for whoever made it. And
Little Mozart for the kids. Yeah.
episode what? The third one? Is that a third one? This is the third one.
Third one, yeah.
Yeah, third one. Cool. Well, for those 6 wonderful people that are joined with us, thank you for joining us for our blooper and hilarities episode. Today, we're just going to talk about the stupid, ridiculous shit that's happened to us on deployment and in Panjwai in general. But honestly, I don't even care if it happened in Panjwai. It can just be just stupid shit you've done in the military. So we're here with Stuart Nancy Helser once again with his little scruff, trying to look like a vet bro like me and Luke. And we got a couple guests lined up today. We're going to have Master Corporal Chance Burles. Sorry. I don't know. I decided to add an extra syllable to it. From the Canadian Army. He's no longer in the Canadian Army, but he served in Panjwai with the Canadians in 2008. And then also, we're going to have the infamous, or the famous, Matthew Pfeiffer joining us here in a little bit. So definitely looking forward to that. Stuart, let's just jump right into it. What's your story? What do you got? You gotta have something stupid that you did.
Oh man, I mean nothing like particular jumps into mind, right? Like there's a classic video of me crossing a river.
Oh yes.
Yeah, crossing I don't know what it was, one of those little creeks, and there was somebody had knocked a tree over. That was the one way across, and I did a running sprint across with a twisted ankle, by the way.
Of course.
So I have an excuse. And it was the least graceful crossing of a log ever done. And I believe I said something to the effect of like a ballerina or something like that, something ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like I believe that the direct quote was like a fucking ballerina.
Yeah, might have been some profanity in there, but this is a family show.
Is it? This is not the family show. The other one is the family show.
Oh,
this is,
okay.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
isn't the Nick Jr. one we're doing? Okay.
Well, I mean, it can be a family show. I just don't think it is.
Yeah, no, that was one of my rare moments of gracefulness, and it was not graceful.
It was pretty graceful. You did stick the landing, and that's what really matters.
To be fair, and I'm not naming names, but a couple people went in that water on the crossing, and I was just really dead set on me not being one of them.
Well, it always blew my mind how we went through so much effort to try to avoid getting in the water when we knew with 100% certainty, unless it was some bullshit patrol, that your feet were going to get wet anyway.
Like, oh yeah.
Like yeah. Why even bother? Like by the end, I didn't. By the end, I was like, fuck the bridge. I'm just going to go down and go back up because there's no point. I'm going to get wet anyway. It's just going to fucking happen.
It's just the mental thing. Like, I didn't want my feet to be soaked for the next 3 hours. At least not with poo water. And, I was dead set of getting across that tree without going in the water. And if I would have had to take one more step, I was going in. But
Oh yeah.
but I
But
did not.
almost with like more catastrophic result too, because like if you just walk through the water, the worst thing happens is your feet get wet. But if you're like run across the bridge or like they make this big long jump, like you could break your ankle, you could like sprain your ankle, like it could actually be a lot worse than just having your feet wet.
Yeah, and I think I had something ridiculous on my back, like a Gustav or like an AT4, something like that was throwing my balance off.
Yes.
And that would not have been a good experience doing cartwheels into the poo water.
Which leads to my ridiculous experience.
Perfect segue.
which is almost identical, except I deliberately and did go straight into the water with an AT4 strapped to my back in my first firefight. Yeah. And this was when like we didn't really like figured out how we're gonna do the AT4 yet. So like eventually we just like stuck it in the bags, right? We just like put it in the backpack, zipped it up around it, like, and it kind of held its weight. But this is when we thought it was a great idea to like strap it around us, like carry it like it was like strapped to us. So there was no way that I could get my backpack or my body armor off because of this AT4 that is just like shifting all over. And the background to this story, and I think we've even told it on the regular podcast, but screw it, we'll talk about it here. We were getting shot at, and this is our first firefight. We're like, Battle Drill 1 Alpha, that's what we do. So First Lieutenant Chris Person's like, let's go, Bravo team, get your minesweeper, let's go. That's the exact voice that he used too. And I was like, fuck yeah, sir, we're gonna win the war. I got the mine hound. I'm in the front. We go up to the edge of this canal, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's really deep, sir. I don't think we should cross here. He's like, doesn't matter, we gotta go. I'm like, roger that. Boom, straight in. It was as deep as it looked, maybe deeper. And I went straight down, all the way down, head underwater, the AT4 flopping in the freaking current, and my head comes up, and I'm like, this is bad. So I try to swim for the other bank, because that's what you should do. You should go away from your friendly forces and go to the other side. Yeah. So I go to the other side and I grab like a reed. Like there's like reeds hanging in the stream. You don't do that, because what happens is your feet get kicked out from under you, and then your face goes straight in the water. So there I'm drowning in my first firefight, and I get rescued by an unnamed individual.
Yeah.
And he's going to remain unnamed because I appreciate him for helping save my life. And we'll just leave it at that. I appreciate his actions in saving my life, knowing that any of the other 6 people on the shore also would have done so. He just happened to be the one that did it. So thank you for that. So then he's slightly taller than me. We make it to the shore, and then it's like dog handler trying to pull me up with like, I think a Koa's there and someone else is there trying to pull me out. The dog is trying to bite me. Like, I'm waterlogged. My gun is covered in mud. The AT4, I'm pretty sure, is full of water. Like, it's awful. And I get out. They finally pull me out, and like I have to spend the next 30 minutes realizing that the most dangerous thing about my first firefight wasn't being shot at. It was being a dumbass and jumping 2 feet straight into a 6-foot deep canal in the middle of fucking Kandahar.
And the random amoebas that are now all over you.
That's why I lost my hair. Yep. That's why I gained the weight and lost the hair. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No question. So there are many more stories, and we'll get to some more later. But we're going to use this opportunity to introduce one of our guests. That's former Master Corporal Chance Burles. What up, Chance?
Cool rank too, by the way, Master Corporal.
Master Corporal. Dude, we had to get like a crash course.
Corporal. Oh yeah,
we had to go through a crash course on the Canadian ranks because they don't make sense to me. Just like our number of sergeants don't make sense to him. They have like 6 corporals. I don't understand.
There's two corporals.
There's 2.
And a master corporal. That's it. But in the Navy, it's a little different because you get called. You become a seaman initially when you first get in, and then you're of course, exactly right. And then you're a leading seaman, and then you're a master seaman. So, yeah,
master seaman.
That's a Navy thing, and they're the Navy, right?
The jokes write themselves on that one. God,
fair. Oh yeah. They just actually recently changed it. I think it was earlier this year to be a bit more PC, and now they're called sailors. So now they're master sailors.
Aww.
Yeah, because the term seaman wasn't already like a joke to begin with, right? Like, nope. Yeah, everyone was master seamen. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, I was a master corporal. It just basically means I was 2 IC to the section. So,
And I had this figured out, but it's like you're a team leader. It's like our E5 kind of was the way. Because like we do our rank structure, it's like E1 through E9, with E9 being the sergeant majors. Like E1 is a PFC, E2 is E1 is just private, E2 is private also.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
We have something like that too. We have private recruits until you get to your unit, and then you become a private trained. But that takes, you have to have 6 months in unit.
It's effectively the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially the same.
And so we go from like, we have no rank whatsoever as a private recruit.
Right.
And then once you have 6 months, you're a private trained and you get 1 hook.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah. So and then your corporals get 2 and your master corporals get 2 and a leaf. So yeah, it's just
so it's more like an E4, because a corporal will be like, is your 3rd rank you can get, right?
It's technically the 2nd rank, because private recruit and private trained are technically the same rank. And then you become corporal. And then even then, master corporal is actually an appointment. So you could technically go from corporal to sergeant, and that's 1 rank.
Okay. So what we do the same thing, but we just call them corporals. It's just corporal, and it's a backhanded promotion, is what it is.
Yeah, basically the same thing.
Yeah. They're like, oh, congrats, you're basically an NCO, which really just means you get NCO duties with none of the privileges.
Yes, exactly. And you're always the one that has to do everything with the guys, right? Because the sergeant usually has the section commander has stuff to do, so it's you that's just running the show, basically. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But I mean, it's good times. It's a good rank to sit at, because you get to do a lot of really neat stuff and still be in leadership, right? So once you hit sergeant, you stop really working with the guys, right? The major issue I had was they took away my machine gun. Master corporals can't be machine gunners, and I was like, you sons of bitches. I was pissed. But
see, I was never more excited than when they took my machine gun away.
I'm the guy you want as a machine gunner. When they told me what machine gunners did, I was like, oh yeah, that sounds right. That sounds me. So yeah, I was a C9 gunner, or a 249 saw gunner, you guys call it, I think, for many years. And when I actually became an instructor and I was teaching the C9 to recruits, I had one of them like, hey, Master Corporal, I think I got these C9 drills down. You want to race? And I was like,
oh, big mistake.
Yeah, all right. Let's see what happens. And I crushed him, but whatever. That's not the funny story that I was.
I mean, I feel like yes. I feel like you have better than that. And just for our 5 listeners now, hey, Chance was a combat engineer in the Canadian Forces, and we do have an interview coming up with Chance. I believe it's episode number 13 in season 2, something like that.
Sweet.
And we go into depth in what some of his experiences were. But spoiler alert, he's here now. So
yeah,
Chance, what do you got?
So I'm going to tell you about the time I got this scar on my forehead, and it's a little hard to see, but it's just right there, little line right there.
Stories with proof. I like it.
Oh yeah. And it was the only time I've ever been on a helicopter, and the only time that I was ever medevaced total. So this starts, I was in Massamgar, and we have to, for those that have been to Massamgar, if you guys know the stores area down by the front gate where all of the HESCO and the pickets and stuff like that are. So I was down there working with a backhoe. So it's got the forks on the front and the little excavator on the back, right? And we're using that to stack Mill 1 HESCO. Just, it's easier than fucking hand bombing it. But I'm still technically on the QRF. So I'm just helping out, and I'm working, and we're stacking pickets, and we're stacking all this other stuff. And I see this vehicle roll down like super hard, my ELAV, roll into the stores area, and I hear, Burls, QRF, let's go. And I'm like, all right.
Oh no.
Just like drop my shit, what I was doing. And I turn to run towards my gear because we were administrative, so I wasn't wearing anything. And I saw the backhoe bucket. The backhoe was parked. Okay. So it's not moving. And I see the backhoe bucket. And I think to myself, it'll probably be faster if I go under the backhoe bucket instead of the one step to the side to go around the backhoe bucket. And I'm 6'6", so I need some. Yeah, I did not duck low enough. And 3 full strides to a sprint, like going, gong, just feet come out from under me. I remember seeing stars, and then I remember seeing rocks, and then I remember seeing sky, and I was like, fuck. And I put my hands on my forehead. I'm like, oh my God, my head. And I pull my hands away, and just covered in blood, right? Head wounds just bleed, right? And I'm just like, oh man. And I kind of half sit up, and I'm, concussed, obviously. And the guy helping me, he had ran off to go get help. So I'm laying there by myself, and I'm just like, oh man. And I look up, and I see my lav ever so slowly back away and just like disappear. And my first thought was, I am never going to live this down. No. So my buddy comes back with my TCCC kit, and he's like, I don't know how to use this. And he just like hands it to me, and I'm like, okay, rip it out, grab a Israeli bandage, throw it on, strap it up. And I sit there, and he's like, okay, well, the medics are on the way, just hang out. So I'm sitting there, and my head is throbbing, and I'm thinking about how much, shit the guys are going to give me later for running into a backhoe bucket. And the medic gator comes running down, and they're like, oh my God, they're coming all over me. And the medic's like, looks at my head and like, wow, who wrapped you? And I'm like, I did. Not bad. Like, okay, cool. So they run me all the way back to the UMS. I sit down, and the doc comes over to check me out, and he's like, okay, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I hit my head. Let's just deal with this. So he goes, I'll grab some stitches. We'll throw them in. You'll be fine. No big deal, right? And while they're looking for the stitch kit, I'm like, my neck kind of hurts. Can I lay down? And the doc's like, yeah, sure, lay down, no problem. So I lay down. He walks over, and he just like touches the back of my neck, and my whole body fucking jumps, just like immediate pain. And I was like, oh God. And he's like, boredom. And like 6 medics jump me, and they start strapping me onto a backboard, right? Neck collar goes on. They're just like freaking out, and I'm getting, there's hands and straps everywhere. And I'm just like, holy shit, and locked up tight. And they're like, wow, we think you might have broken your own neck. It's like, okay. Wow. Shit, that's not cool.
Okay.
And the story just keeps, it gets worse. So the call that my guys had to go out to was an IED blast. There are casualties from the IED blast. So chopper's already in the air, and the doc calls it Tango 2. Tango 2 calls it up, and they they spool off one of the extra Blackhawks, shoots in real hard, boom, hits the ground. They throw me in, and as I'm getting thrown into the Blackhawk, one of the guys on my team, he goes, just so you know, the backhoe is okay. Thanks, man.
Good to know.
Appreciate that. So this is my only time I've ever been in a helicopter. I'm strapped to a backboard, staring at the ceiling. They take off, and the medic's like all over me. He's like, hey, okay, man, what are you doing? What's going on? What can you feel about? And I'm like trying to yell at him, but I'm in a backboard and jaws strapped up. And finally, I get him to look at the paperwork in my pocket, and he looks at it, and he just like puts it away, and he just goes and sits down. He's like, enjoy the ride, man. I was like, okay, cool. We'll just hang out. I get to roll 3 in CAF, and they pull me inside. Now there's IED wounded, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to town. They're rolling everybody in, and everything is in immediate triage, and they cut my fucking pants off, And I realized as they were cutting my pants off that I was wearing the one pair of boxes I have that does not have a button between the gap. So they cut my pants off, and the female doctor, I look up and I'm like, well, I guess you guys are getting a show. And she's just like, yeah, I've seen better. Oh, got joked. But yeah, they CT'd me, and I apparently didn't break my neck. I just strained it pretty hard. And then, yeah, I ended up being fine. Spent 3 days in calf, and then had to clear my way back on a CLP on a clip on a back to Massamgar. And when I went to the briefing for that one, which was hilarious, they sat me down and said, okay, so the guy with the names with the word sapper in front of his name, he's going to be the one controlling all the vulnerable point searches. And I was like, yeah, like looking around, like, oh shit, that's me. So yeah, I had a bunch of like warrants and higher Canadian ranks for all you American listeners that I was directing, Air Force guys, and it was crazy. But
well, it's also a warrant officer in the Canadian Army is like a staff sergeant. So
yeah, it's a little, and again, weird. So yeah, I had some very odd times there, to say the least. But that was probably the funniest story I had, and all the guys always told me that what you should do is like, say it was during a firefight and you like a rock kicked up, or you got like a ricochet or something like that. I'm like, man, the story itself is just too funny to not talk about. And really, I wish I had video, because that would have been amazing.
But the rule is, if you're in a bar, I know you're happily married, but if you were single and you were in a bar, like that is not the story you tell to explain that scar.
Oh no, if that were the case, I would be like, oh yeah, I got this scar in Afghanistan, and I don't really want to talk about it.
You're not lying.
Right. Right.
All right. We're going to bring in another guest. Chance, you're going to hang out with us still.
Raj.
I'm not going to kick you out just yet. We are going to bring on the famous Matthew Pfeiffer.
Oh,
wait, hold on.
Famous.
Yo, what's up, dudes?
What's up, man?
What's up, Matt?
Well, welcome to the Panjwai podcast live.
Thanks, man.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I know that you have a story. That's why we brought you on. There's got to be a story.
There's tons of stories.
I know.
I feel like Piper's got a lot of stories.
There is quite a bit.
Well, let's go. Let's put you on the spot. Well, we'll let you ease into it. I won't make you just jump straight into a story. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I don't know. That's great, man. Kids are happy. I'm happy. I got a raise at work, so that's pretty dope.
Nice.
Yeah. Things are on the up and up, man. It's nice.
So now you make $5.75 an hour flipping burgers, right?
Yes. Yes. But they charge me for all the burgers I eat, and I'm a pothead, so I'm not making much money, my dude. I really just go to lunch all day long, and then I come back home for dinner.
It's a life.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Oh.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I build emergency vehicles. So I build like fire trucks and responder units and ambulances and shit like that. It's kind of dope.
You build armored trucks?
No.
Oh.
I almost did that once. I did. I almost did that one time for the State Department, and then I didn't. So.
Well, if you're a good boy, we happen to know somebody who's going to be working at the State Department soon. Maybe he can get you back.
Hard pass. No thanks.
What do you think got me in there, Curtis?
Yeah, I tried.
I work 12 minutes away. I'm not. Nope.
You can't beat that. That's true.
Nope. Can't beat that.
Matt, I don't know how much of the conversation you got. This is Chance. Chance, this is Matt. Chance is a Canadian. Don't hold it against him.
Oh, never.
I was going to apologize, but he did it for me. So.
Oh shit. Yo,
could you please apologize just so I can hear you say you're sorry?
I'm really sorry that I have to do this, but yeah, I'm sorry. It's practice, man. There's actually a law here. It's here in Canada. You cannot be held at fault for apologizing. So just the fact, like if I was to be in court or something like that, and
you just say a quick "I'm sorry," you're good again.
Pretty much, right? Like you just but it can't be used as a sign of guilt. So
right.
A lot of times, what happened in Canadian court was that they would, a witness would go up on the stand and be like, blah 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 blah. I'm sorry I have to say this, but just like, but technically, by apologizing, it's an admission of guilt, right? So we had to write it into the law that you're not actually allowed to be held guilty for apologizing.
Stuart, does that check out as a licensed attorney in the state of Florida?
There's something sort of similar in American law, but not as explicit as that.
Oh yeah, no, it's like explicitly written in.
Yeah.
So you never
pretty
have to
funny.
be sorry for saying you're sorry.
That's right. Yeah, but we are all the time.
Oh.
It's like when man, the guy that plays Mark Ruffalo, there we go, when he was turning into the Hulk and he's like, that's our trick, that's my trick, I'm always angry.
You're always
Except
sorry.
when you're Canadian, we're just always sorry. It's like a standard base way of living. So there's lots of times where someone will bump into us, like we'll be walking down the street or whatever, and someone will actively bump into you with their head down looking at their phone or whatever, and I will apologize just for being in the way. And I'm like, that's we'd hit each other, both like, oh, sorry, and then we kind of back away. There's a little dance to it. It's
Right. Now the real question is, what do you feel about Robin Sparkles?
I don't actually know what you're talking about. So.
Oh man,
Canadian reference of an American show. That probably is not.
From
How Much Your Mother?
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, I'd say she's pretty accurate. More for the most part. For someone from Toronto, I think she's actually from in the show. Their character's from Toronto.
Yeah.
She's a Torontonian for sure.
Is it true that like Canadian culture is always about 10 years behind American culture? So is it the late 90s, early 2000s in
No,
No.
we're pretty in line.
You're pretty in
with,
line now.
American
Okay.
culture, yeah.
Well,
We're, I think, maybe-
we've gone
Canada
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Okay.
decade are you in?
Yeah.
Where am I? I'm in Alberta.
Okay.
Which decade am I in?
Yeah.
Or,
No. What province?
oh yeah, no,
okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm in Alberta. I'm just north of Montana, and it's basically the rest of Canada says we're the Texas of Canada, but
Calgary doesn't have the biggest rodeo in the world.
oh, it does.
See,
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of where his ranch is, though. I contend that he is in the Colorado of Canada, because it's like those sloping, like flat plains leading up to the front range of the Rockies. That's
We
what it
got the
looks like.
foot. Well,
See?
Alberta technically has everything. So if you go to eastern Alberta, there is prairies, and actually in southeastern Ontario, or southeastern Alberta, it is desert. And if you go to western, you go so prairies to the foothills to the mountains, and then BC. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's the greatest place in the world. It really is. When you get down to
The
southern
Great
Alberta,
White East.
yes, for you. Yeah. For those up in the frozen tundra, technically we're to the east of you. Yes. Yeah. No, I love it, and honestly, we're pretty close to the Americans in terms of culture wise, television wise, but y'all are just fucking crazy.
yes,
It's like
we do it for Dale. We do.
makes sense. Yeah, definitely makes sense.
All right, Piper, what do you got?
I don't know. We can talk about the time that I got 12 porno videos at the same time to play on my laptop and then ran down the hallway to show everybody.
Yeah, let's.
That sounds like a feat.
First challenge. Sometimes you put like 3 up. I wanted to see how many I could have play at the same time on one screen without any freezing. 12 it was.
12
Perfect.
at once.
I tried a baker's dozen, but that 13th one made the first couple of videos start to freeze. And quality content. So,
And then once you accomplish this feat, what did you do with it?
I ran down the hallway to show Phil first because kind of let me know what I did, and then brag about my amazingness in front of everybody's face.
Pretty good for a processor back in 2012.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was a MacBook full of dirt, so I mean, I was impressed.
But I mean, well, how old was the porn?
I don't know. It was
That's a question you don't want to ask, Curtis.
That's a good question because
I got lots
of resolution,
Like what
right?
era? Like are 50s, 60s?
Yeah, I mean, was this something that was like HD quality, or was this like, you could
Nah,
watch
man,
it on your iPhone, your iPod video?
Soundtrack in the background off a record player, and you could see the reels as they went around.
Black and white silent film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
There was that. There's the time that he who must not be named let a pomegranate fly into my testicle, and Nins thought that I got shot because I hit the ground, and he came running up and goes, "Where'd you get hit?" I said, "You won't believe this, but the vegetation is fighting back."
What about literally getting knocked out of the fight by a Gustav backblast? That's a good one.
I mean, my lungs are still fucked up from that, dude. And I actually have, you guys would be proud to know this. I actually have my first appointment with the VA on the 24th, on Monday, this Monday.
Good. It only
I'll-
took you 8.5 years.
I don't trust them, bro. All right. You've seen this shit. They said they might have accidentally gave 1,400 people HIV. That means they're not even sure if they did or did not. They're just like, yeah. And what 1,400? They didn't say. Just a random 1,400. And yeah, I'm gonna trust those guys. Okay.
Wait, do they know for sure that those 1,400 people have HIV, or is this like completely all up in the air?
Years
It's like
ago.
I may or may not have walked on a leaf yesterday. I don't know. A leaf may have got walked on. I may have been one responsible. Was it me? I don't know.
Yeah, I never kept up with the story. It was like Coney 2012, and then we forgot about that, and it was this story, and now only I remember that. So
It sounds like it would be like a rounding error. Like some dude in accounting at the VA is just like, well, we had this many people and now these many. What?
If we round up to 10,000, we only have to add 1,400.
Right, exactly. And then someone just kind of forgot about it, and then later on they're like, "What the? Who are these 1,400 people?" And then it's like, I think we need to put a press release about this. I don't even know what's going on. That seems like what the VA would do.
I went into investigation mode and I typed VA infects patients with HIV. And unfortunately, there's multiple stories about different VA hospitals that have done the same thing at different times.
I love it, dude.
Wow.
The VA gives veterans a second chance to die for their country. It's really a great organization. It's fantastic.
Oh wow!
Oh
I was going into the story because I'm like, I'm going to defend the VA for a second. I'm like, oh no, there's no doing that.
No.
No, they just made the same mistake multiple times with HIV, which totally fine. Yeah.
Can you imagine being the nurse? Be like, I did it again.
By the way, here's my 2 weeks.
I'm gonna go to the next VA hospital. This one doesn't seem to work for me.
They don't fire their people; they just transfer them.
Oh yeah, no, you don't get fired. You just ask Phil. He's still working for him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing Phil didn't come on today.
I thought the VA was bad, but man, that's
we're getting better.
Well, there's not much room at the bottom left, right? Like there's only so far you down.
Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a steep climb. It's a steep climb.
it's like, the VAs are all the guys sitting at the bottom going like, dig up, stupid. And they're all, just keep going, man. Just keep going. Keep digging a grave, man. They're just, the VA is bad here in Canada, but man, it's nowhere near that bad.
Well, at least you have a VA. Like I found out the British Army doesn't get shit. They get nothing. They're like, sorry you lost your leg. Here's
pace.
Well done. Here's a medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, never mind. I'm gonna take that back.
Stiff upper lip. Get out there, son. Yeah.
Put it on your resume.
Actually, the one time we had a Brit in the back of our vehicle at one point in time that we were actually, it was during that clip on the way back from my smashing my head in. The whole time I was in there, he asked me what I did and what we were doing, how I felt about Afghanistan and that kind of stuff. And it was a weird question, but I don't know why I went on a tirade of like fucking officers and this bullshit, and they fucking tell me to do something, and then it's stupid and turns and like I just started railing on officers basically for this whole trip back to Massengar.
He was an officer.
I finally looked at his chest and he had 3 little stars, and I was just like, so what rank are you anyway? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm a captain. And I'm like,
wait, what? How is 3 stars a captain? That's like a major general.
it's not stars, they're called pips. They're like little
Of
diamonds.
course they are.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Of course they are.
Have a third.
Yeah.
pick.
Three
Oi,
Cheerios.
mate, I'm a 3 pip captain.
Yeah.
Oi.
And we adopted those too after I think 2012 or 2013, something like that. We adopted all those. So now all our ranks have that too. It's retarded. But yeah, I just spent an entire trip railing on officers to an officer, to a British officer. And yeah, he took it pretty cool. He was just like, he was a Royal Marine Commando. He was like, whatever, I don't give a shit, man. You're right anyway. Yeah.
Do you guys feel
Good
any
time.
like allegiance to the British at all, or is it literally just a connection in history only?
It kind of depends where you're from.
Sure.
So Western, like I can't even say Western. Basically, rural Canada still has a very direct connection. Like we feel like we're royalists, I guess. We have this idea that the crown is still there.
Mhm.
And then when you become in the military, or when you actually become military, that's kind of instilled a little bit harder because our actual commander in chief
Is the Queen?
is the Queen. So like we technically can't go to war without royal assent. And our prime minister is not actually the person that can tell us to go to war or not. They have to propose it to the legislator, and it's got to be blah 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 blah. But yeah, so
So you're still a
the world-
colony, basically.
not quite. We are I think we're called a constitutional monarchy or something like that, democratic monarchy. It's
When you guys are
we're-
clearly your own country, obviously.
We're
but-
part of the Commonwealth, but we're not under their control. So it's like we're not under British control. We just have allegiance to the crown.
It's
Would you
like-
go to war
it's
against
like
the British?
way back in the day, some dude just forgot to like finalize some stuff, and now
You forgot to
The
file
paperwork just
paperwork.
sat on the desk for too long. And they're like, ah, shit, we've crossed the date. Yeah, no. If I don't know, that's an odd question. If we'd actually go after the British, they would have to do something pretty
If,
fucked up
if,
to get
if
the
the British are like, hey, you know what? We like Canada. We'd like to keep this. It's getting kind of crowded in London. Like, would you fight British invaders?
I don't know, man. There's so much room here. Like,
The answer is yes. Obviously, yes.
like,
Well,
what is
could
it
you
gonna do?
imagine a
Move to
Canadian
northern
like a
Manitoba
Canadian
and we'll
Red
be like,
Dawn?
whatever, take it. A Canadian Red Dawn, dude.
Yeah.
Have
I'm
you met
sorry,
Canadians. Have you met Canadians? We're just kind of like, dude, chill. Just like the highways are open. Just drive through. The U.S. is that way. I know
Alaska's
that's
over
where
there.
you're going, right? Like, Alaska's over there.
It's right over there. Yeah, get
Yeah,
your
like,
coffee.
Whatever, man. The highways are open. Have fun. No,
Well, be
Canadian
be
Red
sure to
Dawn
stop
would
by
be
Tim
interesting.
Hortons, eh?
yeah, exactly. We got the donuts and we got the coffee, and yeah, it's yeah. No, I don't know. Like honestly, Canada's so big. We had this we did a toot one day out in Ontario when I was out there, and so the tactical exercise without troops. It's like a tabletop kind of deal.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So we're rolling through this. They're like, okay, so basically Russia has come through this area and now they're rolling up into this corner of our trading area, and then they're going to sweep down along. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, the Russians are coming through. Like,
They got through Alaska? That's unlikely.
well, no, and they're like, and now they're in Eastern Ontario, just randomly with tanks, and we're just like, oh shit, this has just happened. Okay, I'm going to deploy my stuff here. Blah 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 blah. Right, but like Canada is so huge. Like, where are they going to land? In Nunavut? Cool.
Well,
We'll see in a couple
apparently they
weeks.
can
It's
land
just like-
anywhere they want.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the idea was that tanks were gonna roll across the prairies and stuff, and it's like, man, you know how long it would take to get there? First off, just from any one of our coasts, I can't even imagine all the troops unloading the tanks at in minus 60-degree weather. Just that one friggin' marshal dude, he's just just rolling the tanks out of the tank. No, that's never happening. Come on, you could drop some paratroopers in, sure, okay, cool, but they'll get lost, and we'll help them. We'll direct them where they need to go. And, hey, sorry for being
Again,
on the way, but
you guys are lost. America's just south. Just
yeah, you're a little far north, man. Just
Montana's right there.
just leave across. There's actually a line cut out. You can tell as soon as you cross the border. There's a big line cut out of the trees between Alberta and Montana. Yeah, but yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think, and really, there's not enough British to do any real. Like they might get Toronto, in which case Western Canada would be like, you guys can have it, man. Enjoy. That's about it.
But I mean, obviously Quebec would fight. That would be, man.
They would fight with each other.
Yeah,
over, like like how to surrender.
Just let them deuce it out. They'd be like the freaking 100 Years War Redux Part 2.
Yep.
Over Quebec.
Over Quebec, yeah. But I mean, really, there's not much there.
Is there winning? We're gonna get
again.
if we get hate from the French Canadians, I'm sorry. Apparently, it's just
no. We love ribbing each other. They call us Hicks out west here, so
but they're right.
Call them, yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm right about them too. They're crazy shit. Like that. Just I like so many of my crazy things that have happened in the Canadian military is usually has to do with the French. Pretty much in general, because I told you that the story about the TDM, right, Curtis?
I don't
know. Okay,
maybe.
So when I first showed up in Massamgar, I got handed the keys to the munitions disposal.
Oh yeah, you
trailer,
did yeah,
right. And I went down there to take a look and do inventory check and like, oh, there's this many boxes of C4 and there's these many beehives and blah blah blah. And I opened this gate, the sea container, right? The 2-door sea container. I opened that up and there is a literal pile of C4, det cords, time fuse, all melted together. That is about 3 feet high. That they just left there in a sea can in Afghanistan, surrounded by other explosives. And so, yeah, I opened this gate and I was just like, nope. Just closed it back up and I went and found a higher rank and I'm like, somebody else can deal with that. But yeah, those are, again, the French. We replaced the French, so they must have just walked in there and dumped out all their shit out of their backpacks in a big pile and locked the door. And
that's how I prefer. That's how I prefer explosives be dealt with personally.
Right?
Just throw it.
Stack them or separate the things that sets them off from the high explosive. Yeah, no, whatever.
Yeah. Matt, were you with us when we filled the hole in the Jot?
Oh God.
Yeah, I was, because
I believe that was a platoon effort at that point. I think that's by the time we were all the way down to 0 and we had to have everybody all hands on deck.
That I think was more upsetting of a day to me than when I swallowed the back blast from the Gustav round. I got Kazovac. That day was so. I turned around at one point and boys thought it was the best idea ever to throw a full bag of Quickcrete into a slopping puddle of wet concrete, and I was covered in snow. You know what's not fun to clean off of them for?
Concrete.
It is not fun. I was so mad. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was like, "You're garbage for this. I hope you know that."
So the story here, and this is by far the dumbest, most ridiculous, stupidest thing I've ever done or heard of in the military.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
So, and as a combat
engineer, order, man.
Oh,
that's
no,
a tall order.
As a combat engineer, you're gonna love this chance.
Okay.
So one day, our second platoon is driving around the Jot, paved at the time. Route Black was paved. Boom, I-80, big but not big enough to do anything. The MATV kind of popped its tire, but it was buried deep under the asphalt in a culvert.
Right.
So it just made a hole in the road over the culvert, about 2-3 feet deep, with a little tiny bit at the bottom that was like open to the water below. Wasn't enough to block traffic. Everybody in an Afghan vehicle could get around it. MATVs could get around it. But, it took out its sizable portion of the road. So we reacted as a QRF. We got there. We're like, that sucks. And then we get the call on the radio like, hey, fix it. What do you mean fix it? They're like put concrete in the hole and fix it. We're like, well, we don't have any concrete. They're like, no problem. Come to Massamgar. So we we sent an it was an LMTV to Zangabad, all the way to Zangabad. They put a whole bunch of Quickcrete on it. They didn't give us a mixer. They didn't give us a bucket or anything. They literally just gave us like a pallet of dry concrete. No gravel.
The truck shows up and we go, how are we supposed to mix it? So
they're like
mix it.
They're like, pour it in the hole, pour water in the hole, mix it in the hole.
Like stir it on the ground while we got it wet and kind of paste it in.
Yeah. By the way, mind you, there's a hole in the bottom of this hole that goes straight to the creek below. So every time we're dumping stuff in this hole, it's leaking out of this hole into the creek below.
Before it leaks.
And we're in the jot.
And we're in the jot.
Blown up and shot up.
We're like, this is our most dangerous AO. We like by this point we've had guys like shot, like blown up, like
the Taliban watched us do that day was a victory for them.
Oh, for sure. They sat there just going, what in the fuck?
Like, confused. Like, this has got to be a trap. This is waiting for us to attack it. No one would be this dumb to be doing this.
They were going to shoot us. Don't get me wrong. They were going to attack us, but they're like, you know what? They've done enough to themselves.
Yeah, it'd be too merciful to them for us to shoot them right now.
And the best part was it's 18, like I don't know, 10 to 18 guys out there in full kit. But you know where are our weapons? Stacked against the side of the MATV. We have like 2 people on guard supervising, like, and then the gunners and the hatches. While we're pouring dry concrete into a hole, pouring water in the hole, and using like the end of we didn't even have a shovel. We were like using like the recovery tools that we had. That's part of like the MATV kit to stir it in the hole.
What about an e-tool? Didn't you guys have any e-tools?
Oh, they were out. Oh, we had those out. That's how we were opening the bags of concrete.
Man, that sounds like the most army thing I can think of.
100%.
Like and every step of the way. That is like somebody in the army going, I have an idea.
Yep. And it didn't matter how many times we called up and we're like, guys, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is not how concrete works. There was some colonel somewhere. It's like, I don't care. You got to get that road fixed. We're like, this isn't going to fix the road. It's going to make it look fixed, but it's not going to be fixed. And what happened that night, like after it had like semi-dried, because we actually left like a guard on it all night. That was the other part that was fun. We left a guard on it so it wouldn't get messed with.
just to be sure.
Yeah, just to be sure. And as soon as the guard pulled away, they got a tractor out and they dug it up. And then like 2 weeks later, they fixed it like the right way. We're like, yeah, what?
Yeah, that is 100% people saying, I have an idea. I have a great idea. You know what? This is going to help the Afghans, and they're going to and absolutely believing that it was a good idea that road got fixed with cement.
I don't want to hear excuses. I want to see things getting done.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, have you seen the road? Do you want to come look? Because I want to show you what's happening right here. Yeah, that's the oh man, that is
no gravel, quick mix concrete in a hole, mix it in the hole. Yep. Still my favorite.
That wouldn't endanger anyone in the long term. Having a removable piece of concrete that you could take up, put something underneath, and then put it back on top, and who's the wiser, right? Yeah, no, that seems reasonable. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
Still the dumbest thing I've ever done in my military career. I've done some dumb stuff.
I picked up sticks in a forest one time.
My dad made me do that when I was a kid.
Yeah, because a general was coming to the base, and they're like, "We got to clean up the forest with sticks."
They told our base in Iraq one time because they said Obama was coming. Great coming here.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh fuck.
Oh shit.
But these are the stories that brilliantly exemplify military service.
Yeah, I saw a meme years ago, and it was a peanut butter and jam sandwich that he was holding on to.
It was inside out.
Right, and it was inside out, right? And it was like, this is the most army thing I've ever seen. I was like, that is it. That is 100% it right there. There's there's a reason we come up with words like soup sandwich, right? Like this is going to be a soup sandwich. Everyone knows they're just like, I did I got to do a live fire platoon attack in -53 Celsius.
Stupid.
Wearing snowshoes. And yeah, that was one of my prized memories.
And for those that have never done it, doing military operations in snowshoes is the worst. You get.
I'd like to try it. Oh yeah,
yeah. You don't want to try it.
You don't want to try it. It will. Not only is it ridiculously hard, you start sweating.
I'll be right back.
You start sweating immediately, and you can't ditch your gear while you're on the march. So you're basically fucked. And yeah, so we did this. We marched all the way out there, and of course, a lot of us just got back from overseas, so we're used to the moment we start engaging somebody to take a knee, right? So what do you do when you're shooting live fire and you're in snowshoes and you decide to take a knee in 2 feet of snow? You fall. Yeah. And you laze basically the entire line as you hit the dirt, and then you're trying to keep your barrel up out of the snow, and then you're fighting to get over and around through the snow and then get back onto your snowshoes.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Like you can't take a knee in snowshoes. You can sit, or you can
squat maybe.
If
you get
painfully.
Good enough.
Yeah,
it's rough on your knees though.
Yeah, you just have to sit in a squat, like a perfect squat, which isn't a rest in any way or a better way to shoot. Yeah, and then we found out that the hard way that the target that we were actually assaulting was an old set of ruins of a reinforced concrete building that was covered in snow. So the left flank, when they were engaging the target, the rounds were ricocheting off of the concrete back at the right flank, and the right flank back at the left flank, and the center was shooting at itself basically. While all this was happening, there was like lead flying. It was, again, one of those like
sounds safe.
Yeah, this is 100% safe. This is the only time I've ever lost a mag as well. I lost a mag during that assault at some point. I have no idea where it went. It was in the snow. We still had to go back. Probably. We still had to go back and look, even though like, we're just going to go walk around looking at a bunch of mashed up snow underneath snowshoes. Yeah.
That's definitely a common theme in the military, is an excessive amount of effort placed into finding things that can never be found.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. All on the basis that like, obviously this person is lying. They didn't just lose it. They threw it on the ground on purpose. Like they didn't want to carry it. Like, they'll never figure me out when I get there and say I lost it. Right. That's if you all of a sudden you're at the end of a run and you're like, oh shit, I only have 4 mags. That's not good.
What, your mags are accountable? You'd be accountable for your magazines? What? Why?
They are serialized kit.
Your weapon magazines are serialized?
Ouch.
They're actually I don't think they're actually serialized, but they are accountable. They're like, you get issued magazines.
You can 100%. Buy those on the internet,
I know. I have a bunch.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's an easy problem. It's like, oh no, I lost a mag. Good thing I have 6 in my backpack. Oh no, I'm not missing a mag anymore.
Yeah, no, they're like, you get, when you go to range control, after you draw your weapon, you draw your mags. You don't actually store those on your own. You have to draw them at the same time.
Yeah, but can't you use your own mags? No.
I got in trouble for wearing Oakley sunglasses, like the M frames, which are actually a higher ballistic rating than the ones they issued me. I got in trouble for it.
That sounds like the Army. It's good to know it's the same up north.
I was like, I'm glad that.
And I had this. My sergeant major in Massamgar would always come after me for it, and it was just like, he's a friend of mine now, but he was like, "Why aren't you wearing the proper ballistics?" And I was
like, "Where are your
oh,
wily X's?"
Sorry, Sergeant Major. And I'd put him down and he'd be like, don't let me see you have to do it again. And he'll walk off. And I'd be like, cool. Like, I don't care, man. You can yell at me about these all you want. Yeah, just that's the Army, right?
It's the Army below a certain rank.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. I really wanted to get sergeant before I retired, but I just said screw it. I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm already doing a sergeant's job. I don't want another. When I was retiring, I had a couple months left, and no one had actually said anything to me. Like my contract was just ending, and I had like 2 months left. So I walked into my CO's office, and I'm like, "Hey, sir, so my contract is ending in like 2 months. Should I be doing anything? Is this like, do I just like walk off the base when I'm done? Is that how this works?" And he was like, "Oh, no, just we'll call you tomorrow." So I got offered. I showed up the next day to my adj's office, and he was like, "So here's a contract for 17 years, and we're going to, and just so you know, you're already loaded on your sergeant's course, so you'll be in New Brunswick in a couple of months." And I was like, "Hey, wait, so you want me to stay in the military for 17 years? And the way you're enticing me is by sending me to New Brunswick for 6 months?" Yeah, that's a hard no.
Deal.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was I was like, no, I'm good, man. Thanks. Don't need
Now
that.
you can do all of your sergeant. The school for your sergeant is always in New Brunswick, right? No matter what.
The school for engineering. So
Oh,
all of the
okay,
engineer
okay,
school is in New Brunswick. So anything that has to do with the engineers, you go there. There's
Gotcha.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's similar. I mean, it's the same. Like aviation is always in Fort Rucker, and infantry is always Fort Benning.
Yeah.
Standard.
And like there's the infantry school and there's the armored school, and for if you have those courses, you need to go there to do them. And yeah, Gagetown sucks though. Like I hate that place. It was New Brunswick. It's hot and it's humid, and there's nothing around it. So there's a little town called Oromocto, and it's I think a couple thousand people next to the base that has like 5,000 people on the base regularly. And it's a tiny little town. And then you have to drive like, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes to get to Fredericton, which is a town of a couple 100,000. So you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks.
Well, they usually don't put military bases in fun places, at least not in the Army. You know, the Navy gets all kinds of cool spots, but I mean, is there such thing as a cool Navy base in Canada though? It's all cold. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember what it's called now. Just like exploded out of my head. Well, Victoria, basically. So in the West Coast, you're right on the island in BC.
Yeah, that's cold.
Not.
I mean, the water's cold.
The water's cold, yeah. Or you're the other side is Halifax. So.
Yeah, but we have like South Florida and like Puerto Rico.
That
like
would be
San Diego. Like
the
Navy's got some nice bases, like in some temperate climates.
A few years ago for Turks and Caicos to join Canada as one of our provinces.
Ooh.
And we were like, yes.
Yeah.
And I was in the Army as well at the time, and I'm like, dude, if we actually do that, that's a posting. Like,
oh yeah.
Like we're gonna put a base there
for the Navy.
Well, engineers we can go to a lot of places because depending on what you are qualified to do. So sometimes you can be I've known guys that were engineers that get posted to Navy bases because they have a obscure qualification that allows them to do something. Or if you're a diver, you can get a posting to because we have combat divers and the engineers.
Yeah, but you could never be a master seaman in Turks and Caicos.
I'm sure somebody out there could.
Somebody could.
They would be Navy. They would definitely be.
They
Navy.
would, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Fastest seaman.
I had this. Oh man, I think I told you this one, Curtis. You just reminded me of the story, and
perfect.
So I'm in basic, okay, and in Canada, basic has all trades or all elements. So you have Navy, Army, and Air Force all doing basic together, and the staff are from all elements as well. So a lot of times you'll have Navy and Air Force and Army instructors teaching. And so I'm 6'6", right? I'm not a small guy, but I'm skinny. I'm about 175 pounds at the time. And I'm standing at attention during one of the inspections, and we have this master seaman and I can't remember his last name right now, but he is about 5'2", maybe 5'3", and like 180 pounds. Like he looks like a ball, just this tiny little Navy ball. And somebody was jacking somebody up for something else, and I think I giggled or laughed or moved or something, right? And he just loses it, and he recruit pearls, and he just runs over and starts jacking me up. But I realized that I'm standing at attention with my head up like this, right? And all I can see is this hand like this waving at me, just at the lower end of my sight line. And I'm just like, just don't laugh. And he's also French as well. So he's yelling at me in a French accent using English and French, and he's just jacking me as hard as he possibly can. And the
He's
knife
doing
hand
what?
is there.
What's he
He's
doing?
Jacking me up. Jacking me up. Oh yeah. It was
With
a
both
right
hands.
and right. Oh yeah. They're really close together too. Yeah, but all I remember was just telling myself, please don't laugh, and it just, like, if you can imagine this right at the base of your thing, base of your vision, with this random French Canadian screaming at you, it was
helps that he's French, a French
Oh, yeah.
master seaman.
French master seaman with the knife hand. Yeah, it was again, I laughed about that. Like 20 minutes later, I just fell apart laughing. It was intense. Yeah. Again, army stuff, right? This is the stuff nobody ever hears about this stuff.
It's
When
true.
you think about like all the war movies and all the
Oh yeah, they definitely missed that stuff.
TV shows, and the only thing I can think of was like the Mandalorian, when the troopers are just sitting there shooting the shit. Like that was probably the most realistic army show I think I've ever seen.
There's that, and we talk about this on the podcast, but that scene from the Mandalorian for sure. Especially when they're shooting at the cannon, they're missing it. Then they punch Baby Yoda because they're curious about what it is, and they're bitching about not having. Yeah. Oh, just sitting here. They don't know what they're doing with us. Perfect. It was definitely written by Vet. Generation Kill, nailed it. Just nailed it. Mm-hmm. Down to the humor and everything. And the Outpost, I thought, did a pretty good job of correctly displaying the level of humor and professionalism or lack thereof of infantry troops in war.
We have a very interesting, in the military at least, combat arms especially, really dichotomy in that we can be the most professional and effective and profound soldiers and be horribly immature and like come up with the stupidest, most hilarious dark humor about anything at the same time.
It's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism as well. All right, we got time for one more story. So Matt, I know you got something. Something's tickling a nerve.
You know, when I inhaled the backblast from that Gustav, they put me in that MRAP, and I took all my body armor off, and I just sat there and listened to rounds take off the side of it, and then begged them to either let me put my body armor back on and go back outside or drive the fuck away. Awesome car. And the PA, I don't know who he was. He was old as dirt, and he walked in and he said, "Why are you acting like a little bitch?" And I was like, "I'm gonna fight the guy. Like, it's right. I'm gonna fight you. That was rude. It's uncalled for. I can't breathe. I'm literally hurt. Don't be a dick." You know what else? I was telling somebody the other day. Do you remember that time, Grace? Because I was never originally in your room.
No, we had to bring you in because we were terrified.
You didn't want Tallman to end up in
your
room.
It was me. No, we just didn't want to be alone.
No,
like,
that's not true. That's not what you said to me.
I don't remember this.
You came up to me while I was smoking outside, and they had just told us that there was no reason for Tallman to sleep on a top bunk when we had open bottom bunks, which meant that either he was going into your room, or because I was the highest ranking person in my room, I could choose to leave if I wanted to. And once they said that, you looked at me and you said, "Please come to my room. I don't want the new guy in there."
Well, there's a degree of truth to the new guy curse. And it is worth mentioning that on Tallman's first patrol,
Perez got shot.
Perez got shot.
Tallman's first patrol, Robin's first patrol, Todd's first patrol with us, and it was Todd's birthday that day.
Happy. Yeah. No, that's actually another funny. So after Perez got shot, and which was obvious. Yeah. Well, oh God, the boots. We could. Jeez, man. Is there time for that?
I don't know. But I wanted to see if you remember that time when we bombed the Jot and I forgot we were bombing the Jot and I woke up and started yelling incoming and I took out like 5 chairs on the.
Yeah, I do remember that because I made the decision not to wake up for it because I was like, it's so far away. We can't see anything. But it was close enough to feel it. Matt, you there?
Did you guys take a lot of incoming in
Never. Not one round.
No, wow.
Not, well, unless you count the random 37mm grenades that they tried to send across the wire at us, which missed and low ordered and didn't go off. But no, we had no incoming at all.
We got rocketed like all the time. It was almost daily.
They focused all of that attention on Masamgar. Not Masamgar, on Kandahar. I don't remember even hearing about Masamgar taking any rockets while we were there. Do you, Nintz?
No.
There was not a thing in the horn.
No.
Yeah, there was a point, I think there was like 3 days where they didn't rocket us and we were all weirded out by it. We're just like, it's coming soon. And like it was, yeah, we're just right out.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much we got to a point where we were like, you could almost tell where it was going to hit from the shot, and you'd be like, oh, eh. And the engineers were up in the catcher's mitt, like up above in that secondary area. I don't know if you guys remember there all, but yeah. So that's where all the engineers were. So we'd take incoming pretty much all. That's basically where they aimed it. So it went off the rock face below us. It'd go off the rock face above us.
And Matt, you took a bunch of incoming on your first deployment, right?
I took incoming every 3 days for the first 6 months of Iraq, of rockets and mortars, and it was just so funny that every 3 days was our QRF rotation. So every 3 days we would just load up the trucks and put all our kits in the trucks, and around 10:15 you make sure you go to the bathroom and you have a snack, and then 10:45 11 o'clock you shit your pants for a few minutes and play Frogger but with death as the outcome, and then we go to the trucks and then we drive to the field that they came from, and they have already been driven away for like 9 hours, and then we'd sit there for a few hours and then we'd go back. So when I felt the base shaking and heard explosions, I was like, here we go again, round 2, fight.
Oh man.
All right. Well, we'll end it on that one. Chance, Matt, thanks for joining us. We're gonna kick you out.
My pleasure.
And Stu, you got any closing thoughts?
No, man, I was kicking back just laughing this one. This is a good time to just do a lot of laughing, man. I loved it.
All right. Well, we will be back next week, same time. Hopefully, Tom Evans finally, comes home from work in time. We pushed it back an hour just to accommodate him, but no, I'm just kidding. All right. To everyone who hung out and watched with us, thank you. We'll see you next week.